Welcome to Gear Talk episode number 10. Today I'm going to talk about a very special topic for me. It's slide guitar playing. I don't consider myself to be a great slide player. I started really late, but I always loved the sound of slide playing. When I was a teenager, I started working more and more seriously on my guitar playing. I of course bought a slide one day, but I didn't really know how to use it. I didn't know on which finger to use it. I didn't know how to put it on the strings, and there was nobody around to help me. And I realized the first little things about slide playing when I watched bands. There were quite a few blues bands back in the 80s touring in our area. And one was the band called Black Cat Bone, and they had an awesome guitar player, and he always played a song called Slide Rider. And I realized that he used a different guitar for this song with an open tuning, so I knew that you can use an open tuning for slide playing, but I was really busy learning the guitar that was tuned in the regular way, so I had far too much respect in tuning my guitar differently because I thought I had to relearn all the chord shapes and all the scales and whatever. So I didn't really start, and there was also no teacher or guitar player around to show me the first tricks and little things to get started for slide playing. So I hope that this little Gear Talk episode might be helpful for you if you're thinking of starting to play or to work on your slide playing. So yeah, I hope this is helpful. Okay, so the first thing you should know when you start working your slide playing is that it is pretty helpful to have a guitar with a bit heavier strings. I have 11s on this guitar, and if you have a slightly higher action on the guitar. So if you have a really low action and light strings, it will be pretty hard to create a good sound by using the slide. So I recommend change strings, raise the action, and it will sound immediately a bit better. Then for me, I always listen to old Stones, Rolling Stones songs like The Little Red Rooster. And it sounded so easy, and I always tried to copy this with a regular tuned guitar, and it just didn't work. So after a while I realized that many of the classic slide licks are played in an open tuning. I don't know which tuning Keith Richards used. I think it was him, maybe it was Mick Taylor, I don't know, on Little Red Rooster. But on this guitar right now I use an open E tuning. There's also open E is called the Vestipol tuning, open D as well, and then we have also open G and open A. This is the Spanish tuning. So to tune the guitar to open E, you have to raise a few strings. The low E string stays on E, of course. You raise the A string to B, a whole step. The D string, a whole step up to E. The G string up a half step to G sharp. So we have the third there. The B string stays a B, and the high E string stays an E, of course. So this would be like kind of the beginning of Little Red Rooster. So it was really easy, but it's not playable with a regular tuned guitar. So higher action, heavier strings, and maybe an open tuning. This helps to get started. So now let's talk about how to use the slide properly. I'm using glass slides because they sound a bit cleaner and warmer, I think. Metal slides are a bit dirtier. Sometimes they can sound fatter, but I love the sound of glass slides. Especially this one is the ultimate slide of Diamond Bottlenecks. I put a link in the description below so you can check out their slides. They're my favorite slides that work well with my fingers, so check them out. I put the slide on my pinky because I want to use the rest of my fingers to play chords. Some people put the slide on the ring finger. This works as well. Just give it a try. I prefer the pinky. Important is when you want to play like a clean, beautiful note, it's important to mute the string behind the slide. So if you play on the high E string on the 12th fret, I always have my index finger behind the slide to mute the string, because otherwise I get some strange high overtones. You can use them as an effect if you want to, but I prefer the tone, like the clean tone with a muted string behind the slide. Next thing is, be aware that you're intonating with the slide. You have to move the slide right above the fret wire, not between the frets. So if you're not above the fret wire, you might end up being flat. So this is important. And for me, when I play melodies, I try not to use the full side of the slide. When I play chords, of course, I use the full slide. But if I play melodies, I try to think of using the top of my finger. So I'm not moving the slide around like this. I always have my hand like turned upside, so I can put the slide with a fingertip on the string. I think this way I have more control. Yeah, so important thing, slide on the pinky or the ring finger, mute the string behind the slide, proper intonation by moving the slide above the fret wire, and think of using the fingertip. You're not using the fingertip, but the part of the slide where the fingertip is used to guide the slide on the strings. So this was really helpful for me. Okay, so now we have to talk about the right hand. The right hand is really important because when you move a slide over the strings, you create lots of noise, and you need the right hand to mute all the strings that you don't want to hear. So I'm not using a pick when I play slide. Sometimes I do, but most of the times I just use my fingers. And I use the hand and the fingers also to mute the strings that I don't want to hear. Basically, I pick the strings either with the thumb or the index finger. Sometimes I also use the middle finger. And you see the hand and the palm of the hand is always resting on the strings to stop all the unwanted noises. So this is really important. You have to get used to it. There's not a real concept in my right hand. So I just tried trial and error, and I found out how to play certain licks. Yeah, I don't have a real concept, but it works well this way. Now I want to show you a little exercise to work on your intonation. The best way to check the intonation, of course, is using your ear, not your eyes. So you can play like a little open string lick, always returning to the open E string. I'm going down. So this is basically a minor pentatonic with a minor and the major third. And I always return to the open E string. To hear if the intonation is properly, and just to check if the note is like nice and clean. So this is like a good exercise to check the intonation. As you know, you've tuned your guitar to an open E chord. So if you want to play a little melody or come up with a little melody that works well with the root note of the blues, we play a blues in E, for example. So I have the root, the open string, or at the 12th fret, and I can use like the slide on the 12th fret to create a little lick. Now I played on the G string, coming from the 11th to the 12th fret, going up to the B string on the 12th fret. So this way I have the minor third, this is like the blue note, going up to the major third. So I use the tension of the blue note, I resolve the tension, and I go to the 5th. This could be my first lick. Then I can also go down to the D string. In this case, it's an E. It's tuned up a whole step. So now I have my first lick. And when I want to follow the chords of the blues, I can do the same thing on the 4th fret, because here, on the 5th fret, sorry, because on the 5th fret I have the A. And of course also on the 7th fret. So this is the B, this is the A. Now to the 4th. Now to the B. So this could be like the very, very basic first idea to come up with a nice bluesy solo. And the rest is just experimenting and listening to the players you like. I hope this helps you getting started with slide playing. Okay, this was my little Gear Talk episode about getting started with slide playing. I hope it was informative. I hope it was maybe an inspiration to you to start playing slide. I'm still working a lot on my slide playing. I love to play slide guitar because it's different, you know, and you get a different sound. And there's so many amazing players out there. So it's really nice to work on this stuff. If you like the content, consider subscribing to my channel. If you want to support me as a musician, you can, or if you like my music, you can consider buying one of my CDs. I put the link to my online shop in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in a week, I think. Bye bye.